So today is a bit of fun. I thought we'd look at some knowledge panel listings or some Google My Business listings based on some of the weirdest Google My Business listings that you could ever find on the internet. We're going to look at Harry and Meghan's local takeaway area and compare that to, say, something like Chernobyl. And we're going to look for the Bermuda Triangle and compare that to where the Loch Ness Monster is, or even looking at Chernobyl itself. There are plenty of things that Google is using when it comes to its rich knowledge panels and finding this information on Google Maps and Google Search. But we're going to see what we can learn from some of these things, because some of these things will impact your business and your business listing too. So this is a little bit of a different one. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe, and I'll do another one if it's successful. So let's head straight over to Google. So the first knowledge panel or Google My Business listing is we're going to head to Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas. And here we've got a list of the casino resort, but the reason why this is particularly interesting is it has the most expensive suite in the world at $100,000. So what can we get from this? Well, you notice they've got a booking system, so you can book a room, and the book a room goes through all these various options, including TripAdvisor, Find a Hotel, and so on. So if you've got a hotel, that might be one way in which you want to continue to get more interest. You'll notice, of course, it's closed at the moment, which is due to COVID. What else can we learn from it? Well, they've got hundreds of reviews, thousands of reviews. But notice not everyone's giving a 5-star, but that's about fine. They've got availability. So hotels do get some extra things that they can add into their Google My Business listing or their knowledge panel. And these amenities as well are really good because it just gives a bit more information about the various rooms and what offerings you have there. But notice the questions and answers. This is something that many businesses fall down on, is just checking to see what people are writing. So notice here, are there pigs? Possibly, are you bringing a sibling then? Yes. So you just want to check that, make sure that it's appropriate. And you'll notice, for example, that they do ask about the costs. I think I saw along here somewhere, $1,000 per night. For the floor. That was an answer to, do they have rooms with individual swimming pools? So you can see that the questions and answers are important. So to answer a question or ask a question, you can just do that from within that knowledge panel. You don't need to be within the Google My Business back end or control panel to do that. So we're going to go from the most expensive hotel room to an area that's far from being an expensive area to stay, one that you want to stay in really. That's Pripyat Amusement Park. So here we've got some information. You notice that there's reviews from the web. Of course, it's permanently closed. No one would want to go there. So this is the area where the Chernobyl fallout was and the Pripyat area in Ukraine. And of course, this gets a lot of attention with the Chernobyl disaster many years ago, but still continuing to be on people's minds. But you notice again, just looking through this, it's just remarkable the amount of information that's put within here. So it's got the maps, it's got the photos, it's got directions to it if you were heading in that direction. And of course opened in 1986, but has been permanently closed ever since. So sometimes you get these weird knowledge panels or this information panels on the side. And again, it's just always interesting to see how many reviews this has been collecting. And if you look at some of the reviews, see that people put some quite staggering photos. So sometimes it's just worth going through and having a look, seeing what photographs have been literally uploaded by people that have gone to visit and what they've put out there. But 865 reviews, an average of 4.8. And just to go with that, I was surprised, but that even if you go to Google Maps, sometimes you get places on the maps, and there they've got information about the swimming pool as well, which again is quite remarkable with the various pictures from various visitors as well. So something that you might not have been aware of, but sometimes you get information on areas and they're kind of done through the Google My Business back end. Of course, no one's actually got a claim to this as such, but it's got missing information here. But quite remarkable, some of these listings that are found through the Google Business system. So the next one we're going to look at is Montecito restaurants in California. So why would we be so interested in that? Well, of course, many of the rich and famous, including Meghan and Harry, are in that area, and in lockdown, and particularly with the gates around them as well, you may want to then get a delivery or a takeaway. And so these are the local kind of delivery or takeaway areas that they may well be frequenting over the coming months. So maybe in their area, the Montecito area, they'll be looking through, and just thought I'd look at some of the restaurants that they may well be picking. So you notice this one here, Trilloon, so it's a £3, so not 4. Got great reviews though, and they've got a reserve a table. And notice that they answer questions. But what are some of the things that restaurants would need to do there if they wanted to perform well and to get Meghan and Harry to frequent with them? Well, you notice these green ticks: curbside pickup, dine-in, delivery. So at the moment, with most businesses being closed or struggling to have people visiting them, then the delivery process is really important. And that's what these have done well, answering questions, excellent photos. That's the type of thing that may attract them to get some of the rich and famous to come and visit their restaurant. Professional photos taken on their premises is always going to be a popular thing. And also getting critics' reviews. So you want to make sure that when they click on there, before they reserve, they would want to just make sure that the reviews are good. So look at the critics' reviews, 10 best, Michelin guide. That's likely to get an attraction. I mean, these are great photos as well. And a lot of people put photos up on their reviews. So if you were the business owner, you'd want to make sure that there were some really good photographs of the food. Also, connecting through to other reservation areas like Open Table enables you to get this button where they can then book as well. So I'm sure this is going to be an area that will be frequented. We know Oprah's in the area. We know there are other famous people as well that may be wanting to be served, not just food at the restaurant, but at the moment having it delivered as well. And so this is the type of area they'll be going to. So we're going from the rich and famous now to a famous area, a famous loch in Scotland called Urquhart Castle, and you may well know it better as the Loch Ness area or Loch Ness Monster area, where in Scotland many people visit to see if they can spot the Loch Ness Monster. So what do we see here? Well, it's temporarily closed, as is many of the areas, but you notice that it does get these reviews, and it's important, 5,000 reviews here on Get Your Guide. Now, what would I kind of advise to them? I do think that's quite a dreary photo. If you notice these lovely, much clearer day photos or much brighter photos, even in Photoshop, you can get the greens to come out. But these types of photographs taken on the right day surely would impact or make this look more appealing. These are very grey photographs. This is your cover photo. We've covered how you can control that particular photo. And then these are normally more to do with the outside photo, or sometimes it's just the latest one you've uploaded. So this is of course owned, and looks like they get great reviews as well. So we've got 4.4, 15,000 reviews. So that's excellent. And it's good to see that they're answering the questions here as well. So that's great to see. So no one spotted a Loch Ness Monster, but maybe you may want to go another extreme, International Antarctic Centre. So if you are going to New Zealand, you may want to go here and buy tickets. Again, we just see that this is again a slightly different way of presenting the information on Google My Business, because it has these extra things like events on as well. So you notice that certain categories, certain styles or business types will have extra things. And that's again something to check, because you may find that if you've got something similar to this, like a tourist attraction, there are lots of other things you can add, especially when it comes to events. Things like cinemas have this as well, and pavilions and music centres and so on. So just bear that in mind, that you may want to take advantage of this, because it just enables people to have more interaction with what they're seeing. And I like the fact they're using products as well. So that's another way in which you can get good photographs into this area here and add to the interest. And of course you can categorize your photos, your products. There's a lot more. So if we click on attraction, this will take us through, and again you see then how they've broken down membership and attraction for the products. So that's good use. There's nothing else, just the 3 products, but at least they're getting the full width there and good photography in there as well. And here's another little tip. Notice just 1 review on Facebook, and yet they get Facebook on there. So we've often spoken about the importance of getting these profiles. I've got a video to show you how to improve your chances of getting Google to list your profiles here for your business. But you just need 1 review even. It's not even the top review, 4.4, and that still gets you on there. So I said we're going to go weird, so let's go for Bermuda Triangle. So I did a search for Bermuda Triangle, and it comes up in Google Maps, and we've got a 5-star review, 2 reviews, water. And it literally is in the middle of nowhere. And even if you zoom in or zoom out, you'll notice it just takes us nowhere at all. We are in the middle of nowhere. If we keep going out, eventually we can see some islands. But it just goes to show again, doesn't it, that there are areas on there. Now, some people say things like, what's the purpose of this? And it is like a knowledge panel. It's really just to give some knowledge. So Google uses a similar type of thing with Google My Business, but of course this isn't really a business. But again, it's always interesting to see some of the comments as well. So we've got a 10 out of 0, no. This one gets all the likes though. 10 out of 10 would do again. Love the random planes and people floating around. So people are using this perhaps as a bit more of a way of joking about, but it's just interesting, isn't it, to see that even today someone's added a photograph. So there you go. People do add things. So it's quite interactive the way that Google My Business or the knowledge panel itself and the listings tend to work. But one of my favourite ones is this one, the Greater Wynnewood Exotic Animal Park. Now you'll know this as the Tiger King Park. So the Tiger King Park, no surprise, it's permanently closed. And of course, look at the reviews. You're going to get extremes here, aren't you? 1,500 reviews, but you can believe that you're going to get all sorts of review differences on here. I imagine it's either 1s or 5s. You've got a 5 here, you've got 3s, you've got a 1 here, and so on. So you're going to get extremes either way here. This is a real divider, isn't it, amongst people? But of course it was made famous with the Joe Exotic and the Tiger King series. So this is now closed, and again there's all sorts of controversy surrounding this area, but closed a couple of years ago now, or at least a year ago. And notice, as with everything, own this business is a question mark. A lot of people worry, why does it say own this business? Why does it give me an opportunity even when businesses are around? This is just like a default setting that Google has. What I will say, which is quite interesting though, is that even when this was closed, and I think the owner just wants this removed out of Google altogether, it still exists on Google. So you'll find sometimes you close down a business, you even ask Google to remove it, but it still remains there for some time. So that's kind of is the proof in the pudding of things don't close down immediately. But an interesting knowledge panel or listing, Google My Business listing there, that will certainly get people talking. Just as a bonus one as well, I just thought, look, at if you put anything in, you'll often come up with this kind of information. So this is more of an information panel, and you'll notice it's Mount Everest and just some interesting information that Google's building up around some of the things. So this gives you an idea of what Google's trying to do with Google My Business. It wants in the end every business to have lots of information that's really rich information, accurately provided by the business owner. Now I've got a few more that I want to show, but I'll probably do a second video if this gets enough interest. So we saw earlier how you can add your social media to your Google My Business. If you want to know how to do that, then here's the video for you there. But if you want to optimize your Google My Business so it really increases in its clicks and clients, then go to this 13 Google My Business optimization tips, and I'll see you there.